This is Valley News Live at noon.
President Biden will soon be addressing the nation following Russia's invasion into Ukraine. Last night, President Biden spoke with Ukraine's president and explained what U.S. troops will be doing there. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Explosions rock cities throughout Ukraine, and Russian tanks could be seen crossing the border as Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine has begun.
Peace on our continent has been shattered. We now have war in Europe on a scale and of a type we thought belonged to history.
President Biden called the attack a needless act of aggression against Ukraine and global peace and security. He also said Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring.
This is unprovoked. This is killing civilians. This is definitely a war crime that President Putin will pay for.
The president has warned of unprecedented sanctions against Russia in response. President Biden has said U.S. forces will not fight in Ukraine, but thousands of U.S. troops are positioned in nearby NATO member countries.
NATO is now going to have functionally a border right up against a hostile Russia-controlled Ukraine.
Thursday morning, cars lined up at the border checkpoint into Poland as people try to flee Ukraine any way they can.
What are your immediate plans?
None. Get to the U.S. Assistance Center down the line and then ask them where to go and what to do, what they think is best.
U.S. forces in Poland have already set up camps to begin receiving refugees. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
And just in the newsroom, we're now learning that Ukraine has lost control of Chernobyl nuclear site after a fierce battle. Oil prices are on the rise in the wake of Russia's attack. U.S. crude oil jumped overnight by 5% to $96 a barrel. And Brent crude, the global benchmark, went up by 5% to $102 per barrel. That's the first time since 2014 that the Brent mark crossed $100. You can also expect woes in the supply chain with wheat and grain prices going up. You might be paying even more for essentials at the grocery store. Russia and Ukraine together produce more than 25% of the world's wheat exports and nearly 20% of corn exports. It looks beautiful outside, but the brutal cold temperatures will be here to stay. Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green with a quick look at the forecast. Lisa?
Well, good afternoon. Sunshine out there today and quiet. Yes, it's good to have another quiet day here without the wind. It's been a chilly one. This morning our temperatures were well down into the double digits below zero. We're working our way up. In fact, we're warming pretty quickly here. Grand Forks 2 below right now. Fargo's now at 3 above. It's 1 above in Bemidji, and Fergus Falls checking in at 9, with most places reporting some sunshine here. We still have to factor in some wind, so wind chills in areas where we have a little bit of that going on are into the teens below zero. So still a cold day, especially compared to our averages for this time of year. Our average high is 26 degrees. We will be nowhere near that. Our wind speeds are light, up to 8 miles per hour in Thief River Falls. And as we take a look at your radar, there is some cloud cover down to the south on the northern fringe of this area of snow moving into South Dakota and parts of southern Minnesota. A couple of flakes have tried to fall along the South Dakota border. You may see a few flurries there, but beyond that, that would be about it in the Southern Valley today. Temperatures getting into, again, those single digits above zero in most areas. We'll see those temperatures drop, though, again tonight once that sun goes down. More on that and when a real warm-up will be coming our way in just a couple of minutes.
A real warm-up. Sounds
Yes.
like a good little news forecast. Thank you. Now, we have more information on the man who was found dead in rural Kidder County on Monday. The sheriff says 56-year-old Timothy Becker likely died from the blizzard conditions. He was found in a ditch along Highway 36. The sheriff also says it appears Becker got lost in whiteout conditions and left his vehicle after turning onto a low-maintenance road. An autopsy is being conducted to determine the cause of death. Carrington police made a major drug bust when they found 290 pounds of cocaine last Friday. The person with the cocaine was arrested. Their name is not being released. Authorities say the street value of the drugs is around $5 million. The investigation into the bust is ongoing. The judge overseeing the federal trial of 3 former Minneapolis police officers charged with violating George Floyd's civil rights has sealed the jurors' identities for at least 10 years. Federal law allows him to do so in the interest of justice, and the judge says this is clearly such a case because of the significant public attention the trial has generated. Jurors are on their second day of deliberations. J. Alexander King, Thomas Lane, and Toe Tao are charged with depriving Floyd of his right to medical care when he was pinned to the ground for 9.5 minutes. And fellow officer Derek Chauvin pressed his knee into Floyd's neck. In schemes and rips-off today, a warning about a scam that drained a Dickinson woman's bank account of thousands of dollars. She got a letter suggesting she had won hundreds of thousands of dollars, but needed to send $7,500 for tax purposes to claim her winnings. A scammer on the follow-up phone called her, telling her to put the cash in the interior of a magazine and mail it in a brown envelope to South Carolina. The victim realized the whole thing was a scam after the check she got came back to her bank as fake. Coming up at noon, we'll take a tour of a train station that played a role in the Underground Railroad. But next, Lisa will be in next with your bone-chilling forecast.